Pro Cannabis Media.
Hi everybody, welcome to a very special edition of In the Weeds with Jimmy Young. This week on location at the New England Cannabis Convention at the Heinz Auditorium in Boston, Massachusetts. We are so excited to find a couple of guys that I haven't actually seen in 3D in 2 years. That's because we've been talking to each other on Zoom, just like the rest of the world. But here at the convention, it's all about face-to-face, and that's what we're able to do here today. We're so happy to have two guys with us. One is David Cunic, and the other is Chris Vaglio. We are gonna rock it with these guys. Is that okay? Is that a trademark thing?
No, you can do that, man. That's it. Yeah, we're gonna rock it.
Dude,
let's rock.
Rocket Growth Agency, man. You know what? PMA, positive mental attitude.
No, and wait, what's the other one? UCS, using common sense, or
Use cannabis safely.
I love it.
See, that's why the name of the company is UCS, because now whether it's a cannabis client or a non-cannabis client, the name goes perfect with either one.
Yep.
Well, I had the pleasure of sitting in on your 3-hour webinar, workshop, whatever the hell you want to call it. I guess it's not a webinar if it's in person,
a workshop.
right?
It's a workshop.
Live
I'm
workshop.
It's a live
not used to
workshop,
that
yep.
anymore, right?
Yeah.
So it was awesome. I picked up so many things. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of notes because, guys, like you, I'm old school.
And the best part is, Jimmy was busting our chops last night. He's like, I'll come for maybe a half hour.
That's true.
You'll be looking at me for more than a half hour, and you stay for the whole time.
Well,
I appreciate that. So
and
thank
you got 4 pages of
Seriously,
notes.
thank you for saying the entire time. That meant a lot to us, man.
Well, no,
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate that, but more importantly, I learned quite a bit. There was a reason for me to stay. You guys engaged your audience. You gave us tools that we can use immediately when you walk out of there. That was really important.
Yeah.
And there was, you know, it's interesting also, the two of you have different strengths, right?
Correct.
That's
You know,
100%
I'm also
true.
6'3", and he's like
5'4".
And he's not. And he's not. That's
And
all
it's
right.
okay.
By the way, and neither am I, which is okay.
It's visual fun.
How, first of all, David, let's talk a little bit about your background. Your background's impressive. You start companies, you've sold companies, you've got a physical therapy doctor degree. You also have a really good sense for humanity, for people.
Thank you. It means a lot.
And this is what I took out of it. Walk us through, if you can, or just give me some of the highlights, or give our audience a little of the highlights of what you guys wanted to accomplish in today's workshop. And do you feel you did, based on the feedback you've already gotten?
So great question, and at the end of the day, the main purpose of today is, as a medical professional, it's our job to empower people with information and knowledge. And also, when you look at cannabis, it's a medicine. And in your medical code of ethics, it tells you point blank, if there is a better way to treat a patient, even if it's against federal law, you need to fight for your patient. So at the end of the day, I've been very blessed being in this industry for over a decade, okay? And with that being said, it's like, okay, don't make the same mistakes I made. You know what? I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have business mentors, if people didn't pay it forward. And that's why literally the cost of today's event was pennies on the dollar, because we know every dollar as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, every dollar counts. Really so the main purpose today was this: get something you can use right away to help with your networking, get something you can use right away for your branding, and get something you can use right away to help attract more investors to your company. If you need capital, there are certain steps you can do with networking, with self-branding, and with this general marketing, and just some little basic investor relations 101 that you can implement right away. So the fact that the feedback we've gotten so far, and just talking to you and other people, was that everyone that was there wanted to be there. And I think the best comment I got was this: one person in the audience, which you know, did his recon work and saw some YouTube videos about me.
Yes, I saw that.
And he knew an answer to a very unique question, which almost no one ever knows the answer to. And he's like, well, I watch YouTube videos on you. I talked to him afterwards. I go, so what did you think? And he goes, well, it was pretty decent. I go, pretty decent? I go, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, I wanted X, Y, and Z. But I think that's more of a one-to-one conversation with you. I'm like, yeah, it is, but I appreciate you attending. I go, did you learn anything? He goes, oh, man, because I learned a whole bunch of good stuff. I took away a lot of good points. And I go, but it was only pretty decent? He goes, well, yeah, I guess so. I guess, I got a lot of good stuff out of it. But no, what we want to get back is also, and I can speak on Chris on this, is that it's about when you go to a workshop, about being able to utilize it immediately at this
Yes.
convention here at NECANN Boston. Everyone that walked out of that room at 11:50 a.m. right before lunchtime was able to utilize something right away. Heck, even before we went live or we did this, you practiced your elevator commercial. You're like, hey, I took the notes, and you gave it. You know what?
Right.
And that's in
Instant action.
in the last couple hours, and that's awesome. You're paying for it. It's already working what we want to accomplish today.
Absolutely. Yep.
But the thing I'm going to throw right back at you before I get, you can answer the last question if you'd like.
No, it's okay. He got it. I mean, I'm
did.
just going to repeat it.
I get it.
I'm just going to repeat his answer.
What he said, right? I got personal brand versus company brand. Something I struggle with because when you're in the early stage of a company, you are your company. You talked about key man insurance.
Well, you're always you're always going to be your company.
Right, especially when you're a founder.
Yes.
And you know, in the cannabis space, a lot of entrepreneurs are coming up with these really unique ideas, which is one of the most fun things
Which I love.
about this business.
I absolutely love it.
But it is, how do you decide when it's time for you to tell your own personal story and add it to the brand, or you just walk away and say, you know what, this isn't about me anymore, it's really about the company?
This is an awesome question because this is something I do deal with this a lot. And for me, and how I've always done it, and the way I talk to people about it is they're both the same. Like, you got to run them simultaneously. Like, your company, yes, you founded it, you started it, and it's always going to be an extension of you, but then there is your just personal brand, and you should be leaning into that. You should be utilizing that because it is a strength. Because the thing is, you're gonna, whether what you're doing is always gonna be synonymous with your company, and that's totally fine, or if you go on to do other things, that's okay too. But the thing is, you're just constantly staying top of mind with people, and it's gonna give you the flexibility to go after doing all the other things you wanna do. Like, that's why I say I love working with creative business owners, because business owners inherently aren't just creative people. Like, you have to have a level of creativity, and so you want the creative and the flexibility to be able to do that. So having your personal brand in line and in step and doing that and creating that along with your company brand, you could totally do them side by side.
Yeah, but check your ego at the door.
Always check your ego
right?
at the door.
Because that's something that I find, first of all, it's a dangerous thing. You guys know, one of the points you guys made is make sure you don't ask for a six-figure contract in your investment pitch. Don't do that, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
it's a turn-off immediately.
It's just how, like, there are investors that we've worked with, and all they do is they go, show us how much you're paying yourself, and that's all they look at, and they go, "Ooh, that much? Nope, bye."
Yeah.
Have a good day. And that's the only thing they look at. Heck, one of my own investments for one of my other companies, the very first thing he looked at was how much you paying yourself, and he's like, "Oh, you're paying yourself $38,000 a year." It means you got to really hustle to really make it. Yeah, that's correct. Great, I'll give you money because I know you're going to work your ass off.
And it is a lesson I learned from my first business, and I did pay myself $36,000 a year and learned from that experience, and have since heard horror stories of other companies that have these CEOs that are making six figures and the company's losing money. And he's like, you're not making payroll and you're paying yourself $400,000 a year? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Who gave you money? And can I have their number? No, but I mean, that's the point, right? Because it's like, come on.
Well, exactly. The other thing is too is that this goes back to like what we talked about at today's workshop.
Yeah.
Failure to plan is planning to fail.
Right.
Like, it's okay if you're having a 3 or 4 year performer. Hey, if we hit certain benchmarks, then we like to give ourselves a raise. Or hey, as you, the investor, this is one of my favorite things. I always tell a client, if you're going to ask an investor for money, and let's say they gave you $200,000. Hey, upon you getting back your $200,000 and making another $50,000, now you've made back your investment, you made some profit. I would like to increase my salary. Okay, now the investor's like, you're putting my needs first.
Right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And that goes a long way.
It does. It really
You also
does.
made a great point about when people are giving you money, you really end up working for them and their money because they believed in your vision, your whole thing.
Well, and that's the thing. It's important to remember that people invest in people.
Right.
Like, that's why it's important. That's why we talk about the personal branding and the relationship and the networking, and then what David then talks about, because this is what puts it all together, because they are investing in you first and foremost. That's the big thing to always remember.
Jeff Finkel, ArcView, who's a friend, guy, he said it's about the team. And I said, what if I'm so early in my company, I don't have enough people around me to create a team? It's not easy. I mean,
No, it's not. But hold on though. But and I understand what he's saying about the team, because I say that as well too. But it depends on the type of company you have.
Right.
But also, secondly, it's about you thinking ahead.
Right.
If you know what your 3-year plan is and say, hey, listen, once we hit these road marks, I'll be hiring A, B, and C personnel. And then once these other benchmarks, this is where most people, when pitching to an investor, fail. Because they say, yes, I have a small team, but once I hit these benchmarks, these will be the people I am hiring.
Gotcha.
And if you know someone you really, really want to hire, and they already kind of give you a soft commitment, include that in your deck.
Put their name in the
When I
box.
used to hire this guy, he wants $185,000 a year, which is really great, and he's worth it.
Well,
but this is where part of your deck is, so depending on your company, you have to show the return on investment that person is going to bring for you.
Right.
It's all about ROI. We know that in life, let alone into investment too, right? Yeah. Because you don't want to put any effort into anything that you're not going to get something out of it.
Well, especially when you're getting someone's money.
Right.
And that's what's really key. And you talk about and I really appreciate the nice words you said about, taking a humane approach towards business. And as a medical professional, that's what I've done. And I started my first company when I was 24 years old, okay? And if that guy didn't believe in me, I wouldn't be where I am today. And that guy became my business mentor. He ended up investing in other stuff. So
who is that? You want to give him a plug? Can you give him a plug
Nope.
or not?
Nope.
Interesting.
Because
behind the curtain.
Behind the curtain, because it's something where, out of respect to him, I used to give him plugs, and he's like, you know what? He's like, I went from being the mentor to the mentee. I don't need the plug anymore. Just keep paying it forward to other people. Like today, that's what we did.
Yeah.
That's a nice.
We pay it to other people.
That's it. Always pay it forward.
Know your audience.
Know your audience.
So important, by the way, whether you're being a public speaker, a presenter, to an investment group, or going into business with a product or a service. What's the problem you're trying to solve or provide for your consumer who's ever going to be paying for that product or service, right? Cannabis. This is a unique product, guys, okay? It really is. If you think about it, when they say, what's your demo? Who's watching you? And I go, well, we're really a B2B. It's more of a male demo right now. I'm talking about cannabis media. But when they say, who could benefit from the content you're producing, and I go, really, it could be everybody from 21 up. How challenging is it to do this in the cannabis industry? You get the horrible story, the 97% failure. It freaked me out. I was like, that's even higher than
by the way,
normal.
I have this is such a very simple question to answer in my opinion. Yeah. But I'm thinking it's gonna be much different than his response.
Okay.
And I'm debating if I want his response to go first or second.
Response first, if that's how I'm gonna get the little guy.
Yeah.
I'm sticking up for the little guy here.
Sticking up for the little guy.
Rocket man. Come on, Chris. Go ahead.
Oh, you buddy.
So I mean, for me, and I agree. I mean, it really is. It's a wide-reaching, product that people, really could use, but they use it for different reasons.
Right.
To me, I always go back to it's about the experience you want to create. So with your brand in particular, what are, understanding who you're serving and creating that experience for them. But it's also, once again, it's an injection of who you are, your values, your beliefs. And that, to me, is the thing that, if you want differentiation or what makes you or what makes you special, is all those things about you already, and creating the user experience that they need. If people are coming in through your door or they're hitting your website, whatever that is, making sure that's the experience you want to create. That, to me, is one of the biggest ways.
Yes. So first off, I appreciate your words and comments on that, but I'm going to respectfully say I do not agree whatsoever.
Perfect. That makes for good TV, guys.
So, and here's the main reason why. If you notice, I use the acknowledgement rule first. I want to acknowledge that.
You're going to acknowledge it.
Yes.
Thank you for your answer. I completely disagree with you.
Your relationships, too, guys. Not that we're doing relationship advice, but acknowledge your
Exactly.
partner.
That's right.
Exactly.
Acknowledge
So
your partner.
your question was for like a show like yours. Who's your demographic? For you, it's really simple. You already have data you can buy for right now. You can buy the data on who likes tinctures versus flower, who likes learning more about the holistic side of things versus who wants to learn about how to grow. Okay. Now we're gonna take the show. We're gonna have even a breakup of segments. Late at night, you're gonna have your healthcare people on because people are staying up at night because they can't sleep because of low back pain or knee pain. Great. Have your medical providers talking about CBD, and that's gonna be your demo target then, and that's what your sponsor are gonna focus on that then, and then versus the early morning riders, especially the growers. Hey, what's my growing tip of the day? Or hey, I might try this new fertilizer. Maybe you do that earlier in the morning. You show those, and that's gonna be a different demographic.
Right.
So in reality, you get some paid data points.
Yeah.
And you go from there. And literally the conversation I had right after our workshop today, someone came up and say, okay, I'm doing a dispensary, but I don't know really what products I should be selling. And people forget there's actually a booth here, and they're all they're doing is just taking data and selling the data. And the Tilrays, the Curaleafs,
I agree with that.
the Trulies, all they're doing is buying data. Say, okay, this is what product moves.
Right.
So for you, of your show, you could actually have several different demographics. Hey, great. From this time, it's all about growing. From this time, it's all about health and wellness.
Right.
From this time, how to incorporate cannabis into your exercise regimen.
Right. I get you. And
We got you, buddy. We got you.
No, I appreciate it. Trust me, you're getting to understand how much I appreciate it. Okay? Every single little tidbit I get. I am a sponge.
But his answer was good too, and I agree with his answer. I'm looking at this purely as a business mindset.
You combine them.
Yeah.
So here's something I love to chit chat with people about, and one of the Beth Waterfall, who's involved with NECANN,
Yes, yep,
head of
very
Elevate
much, yep.
Northeast. When I interviewed her about a year ago, she said something that has stuck with me to this day. And you talked about experts, looking for an expert, right? Well, in Beth's idea, there are no experts in cannabis because the industry's only been around for a few years. However, David, the fact that you lead with the fact that you've been in this industry now for how many years?
12 years now.
That makes you the most expert cannabis business consultant I've actually met or talked to in this industry over the last 3 years, because I've only been talking to people about it for 3 years. Let's not talk about the use of the product, because we know that a little bit longer.
Well, exactly. And the biggest thing, though, is that you said the word consultant. We're not a consultant. We're an advisor.
Advisor.
Because there's a
Right.
big difference. An advisor
It's like
works
a
on the
coach
short term
versus
versus long-term goals.
Right.
And my best example is this. Every physical therapist can technically be a personal trainer because we have the degrees, we're licensed by the state.
Yeah.
But not every personal trainer can be a physical therapist.
Right.
And anyone can be a consultant. Heck, I can hire you as a media consultant right now.
Tomorrow.
Exactly.
Ask me an opinion on anything. I'll give it to you, by the way.
But that's where versus an advisor.
Right.
Okay, great. And we let people know, hey, if you're going to hire like an accountant or a lawyer, yes, there are
Right.
people that are going to be in it only for maybe a couple of years, and that's okay.
Right.
Yep.
But depending on what you need, go do some recon work. Find someone that's been in the industry for a while
Yep.
and has experience in it.
This is another thing I took out of this. When you ask the question, how many of you are looking for investors? You know, how much you're looking for, right? And of course, everybody has I love the guy, 1.5 million. How many investors are you looking for? One. And I go,
Yep.
it's a needle in a haystack, but there is a needle in a haystack. Keep
There
looking.
is,
yeah.
That being
Yeah.
said, I too am looking for that ballpark number, whatever, because I actually have a budget of $750,000, and I got a great piece of advice, for doubling your ask. No matter what you think you need, double it. David's laughing. Good advice or bad advice? Tell me.
I'm gonna let David answer that.
Because I have a budget.
So, wait, hold
Go
on.
ahead. So now the question is the ask? Because
Jimmy,
as a
I'm gonna answer your
startup-
question.
I know, but I have to
Jimmy.
shut up first.
I'm going to
Go.
answer it. I got
Okay.
you on this, and I'm laughing because of this very simple reason.
Okay, good.
2006,
Yeah.
my very first business partner
Yeah.
goes, "You want to be a business partner? Or you want to be an investor?" And I said, "If an investor, I can get to here,
Yeah.
but the business partner, I can get to here." He goes, "How much money do you need?" And I told him. He goes, and this is 2006.
Yep.
He goes to me, "Very first rule of business: how much money you need? Ask double." And he literally gave me double the amount of money.
Look at that.
So that's why
it
I'm
is
laughing,
it
because
is a
literally
good-
my very first investor, my very first business,
Good.
and my investor relations advisor, like coach, like literally that's why I'm laughing. I'm like, literally that's the advice. As I was sitting here at a bar with him, and we're drinking water, and this guy drinks, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna get beers. We're like, have a couple drinks, go over business. No, we drank water. Or up here, water, without my accent, for literally 3 hours, and I'm not gonna lie, then literally had the contract done in a week. Even his lawyer said to me, "Who the hell are you?" This guy swore off ever becoming a business partner again with anyone for over a decade. And then they had to do a background check on me, make sure clean, let you everything good. And he's like, "You know what? This guy likes you a lot. He's giving you double the amount that you asked for." So yes, you can ask for double, but also to be prepared to ask a potential investor, okay, at 1.5 million, what do you really need? You'd be like, "Listen, I can really probably get by with 800 or 850,000, but I'll get a little extra cushion."
Right. Now take it to the next step. Another thing I learned. You don't need it up front, day one. Stages. Build in stages that you can actually
Tranches.
show.
Yep.
Tranches,
Yep.
good word. Where you can actually show your investor, hey, remember you gave me that 500,000 seed.
Right.
Well, guess what? This is what we did with it. Now we're ready for the next tranche.
Well, so there's
I'm trying to
there's
learn.
serious. No, it's a great question. So tranche is used all the time, and people forget. It just means, okay, if you're gonna give, let's say, $100,000.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give you $100,000 in 4 tranches of $25,000 each.
Right. Okay.
So what happens is that a lot of times, let's say an investor might say, sure, I'll give you up to $500,000.
Yep.
My first tranche will be $100,000. You hit these milestones, I'll give you then a second tranche of $150,000.
Yep.
And you can also work with investors in your contract like that, so they have to put all the money up front.
Yeah.
And so that's why also too, where let's say you need $1.5 million, you would say, I really only need like $400,000 for the first 6 months.
Right.
And then
Right.
you can keep moving things, your operations forward.
Right. And look, other people that I see in my world say, what do you need investors for? Just work your ass off and drive revenue. I'm like, okay,
It's about expansion.
yeah.
It's about expansion.
Right.
You know, just plain and simple.
Right. Working capital, though, is so important in a startup business, just so that you can actually act like a business,
Yeah.
right? And not
It's true.
just keep looking at chasing the accounts payable or
Yeah.
payable.
You
the
got,
ones
yeah.
that come in,
Mhm.
right? This is another reason why I need help in my business, because the debit credit thing and the payable and the receivable thing was totally foreign for. To this day, I still freak with that.
Well, that's why you know how to outsource and get an accountant, which is
Yeah.
great.
Right.
And you're
Well,
smart enough to know that you need help with
Not
that.
only,
Yeah.
not just any accountant, but of course Rick Lanieve from Accounting Buds.
That's-
I told him I'd give him a plug. Okay? After all, we're right next to the booth this whole weekend. Right? That's what we think. Guys, I so value relationships and people. You guys talked about that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Good. Tell me. I mean, I value that almost more than just, hey, write me. I don't want somebody to just write me a check and go away.
No.
Or call me in and say, hey, how you doing? What's going on with this? No, I need human capital too.
Yes. No, relationships are so key. I mean, it's to me that I attribute that to be pretty much my number one part of all the success that I've had over the years. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to grow Gray Sky Films to a 7-figure company without the relationships that me and my business partners spent creating and making and maintaining and just doing all the things that you just do with normal human beings. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. That's how you build a business.
Right.
And you actually have a real conversation. Like,
Yes.
so like today we didn't talk about too much, but like I was born with severe verbal apraxia. So I used to go to a speech therapist. I was 23 years old. I could only use to hum words. And now when I speak, people will notice I actually only use like 2-syllable words or less. But it's one of those things, just having a conversation. Like,
Yeah.
Chris and I will always say
Right.
here, hey, it takes more than 3 texts. Hey, I'll just send a quick 2-minute phone call. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of doing something. Let's just talk for a quick 2 minutes.
Right.
That's it. And it goes a long way.
It
And
does.
the one thing we lose when it comes to raising capital, when it comes to even just social media, just pick up the phone and call someone. Just talk for a minute or two.
Wait a second. You use the phone for communication to talk?
Yeah.
My phone still has a traditional ring on it, like a
Yeah,
regular
I
classic
love it.
ring.
I love that.
Like, and they're like, why is that? I'm like, because I want it to sound like a phone, because I know
That's
I'll
right.
pick it up. That's
Right.
why.
That's right.
Yeah.
Storytelling. It's what I believe in. It's what
Yeah.
I like to do as a broadcast journalist for 30 years or whatever it was. It's all a blur at this point. And then I teach that stuff. Saying
Right.
as much as possible in as few words as possible. You just talked to them. You just did 2-syllable words because that's what most people are going to understand. You don't need fancy words.
No.
Here's what I keep telling people. Don't wow me with your adjectives. You're not writing, you're talking. Pick up, pretend you're talking to a friend on your phone, okay? Not texting, talking on your phone, and tell me the story. What happened? How did it happen? Why did it happen? How-why questions. These are the best questions to engage in conversation.
Well, it also opens the door, and something we talked about today is just interest, hobbies, and
Right.
Right.
like
Right.
Chris and I, we talked to the story about fantasy football while driving up here.
Yeah.
And it's just a great example of, hey, just because we were having a conversation,
Right.
that led to putting something on the radio, which then led to some other things as well too. And just
Right.
it's just about the art of conversation opens up the door so much more.
Absolutely.
Chris Vaglio, Rocket Agency, how do people find you?
Rocket Growth Agency.
That's pretty much it. Well,
Yeah.
You gotta put the growth in there.
You got to put the growth in there.
Rocket Growth Agency.
Yeah. Riga.
Okay.
RIGA.
Now you get to plug it now that I screwed it
Yeah,
up. You get
yeah.
to plug it. Tell people how to find you.
Yeah, so you pretty much find me all over the internet, basically. Just type in Rocket Growth Agency. You can go to rocketgrowthagency.com. You can find me on Instagram at that same hashtag or at Chris Vaglio. That's my handle, pretty much across the board. So easy to find.
And LinkedIn Live.
And, of course, LinkedIn Live. Well, ChrisLinkedIn.com.
Took me 7 months to get there. I finally got there. How do people find you, David, if you want to be found?
Yes, I want to be found.
Does want to be found.
So I always tell people this: LinkedIn, David Cunic, very simple. The other thing is too, our website's
Cunic, not Come on, Cunic could be with a K.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I thought on the bottom of the screen it would say my last name.
Well, it will.
Okay. So
Well,
Cunic,
but I also want to make sure that
C-U-N-I-C. Yes.
the person who's putting that graphic in knows how to
And by
spell
the
your
way,
name.
you say that 5 times. C-U-N-I-C.
Yeah.
C-U-N-I-C.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
So, and then also UCS Advisor, which is singular.com. I cannot get UCSadvisors.com because a real estate company has owned that for
Yeah.
over 20 years.
Fair enough.
And they want way too much money for the
They're
domain
going to own it
name.
for another 20
Yeah,
years.
so or UCSadvisor.com, but LinkedIn's one of the best way. And also too, if we connect on LinkedIn, we'll open up my
Yeah.
network can meet you then, and your network
Yep.
can meet me, and this is a way we can network and all do business
Absolutely.
together.
Yep.
Because remember, there's plenty of fish in the sea, so why can't we all be successful together? And that's what it's all about.
100%.
And this is a very
100%.
big C that's happening. Speaking of which, we'll get to him in a minute. For Chris and David, I'm Jimmy. That'll do it for a very special edition of In the Weeds. Remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly. We'll see you next time.
Weed Talk and In the Weeds are two productions of Pro Cannabis Media supported by Revolutionary Clinics, one of the top medical cannabis dispensaries in the Massachusetts area, now with 3 locations in Greater Boston, 2 in Cambridge and 1 on Broadway in Somerville. Rev Clinics has a patient-first mission. They will customize your needs as a medical patient with the proper titration and combination of strains, flavors, and products. Rev Clinics, where the patient comes first.
Hi, I'm Ben Schauer, New England rep for Salient Video Management Systems. Let me tell you what makes us different in the security space. We're your trusted advisors for all your security needs. I know how complicated the regulations are in cannabis, and working with Salient Systems will be the polar opposite of that. I give free consultations and will walk you through every step of the process so that you can get what you need at the price you can afford. We're robust, we're simple and scalable. We're Salient Systems, your solutions to all your security needs. Please contact me at the information below, and I'm looking forward to being your trusted advisor.
Pro Cannabis Media programming is available live and on demand on our Facebook page at Pro Canna Media, on Instagram at Pro Cannabis Media, on LinkedIn also at Pro Cannabis Media, on YouTube and YouTube Live on Pro Cannabis Media, Twitter at Pro Canna Media, and on twitch.tv/Pro Cannabis Media. So like, share, and subscribe to all of our content, newsletters, and shows live or on demand.
We are Pro Cannabis Media.